Morning, afternoon, evening. It's you know how this works. It could be anything. I'm Bob Doyle, one of the featured teachers in the film and book The Secret, and as the description implied, I have this question for you about triggers. How triggers affect you and your productivity and just the quality of your day. You're going along, things are fine, or maybe they're whatever they are, and something triggers you. It could be a conversation, it could be a look on somebody's face, it could be a task you don't want to do, it could be anything, any random input, and then you get triggered, and it causes a disempowering or a negative emotional response that can sometimes take you out of the game for the rest of the day, the rest of the week. It just depends on the trigger and how deep it goes and what dots are connected in your brain. You know what I'm talking about? And you're trying to get stuff done in the world, right? You got this thing you got to do. You got this vision you want to live. And then all these triggers come up and they take you out of the game. And it's frustrating, isn't it? Well, all of those triggers, the reason there is a trigger in the first place is because you make meaning out of the moment, right? I mean, I think that's obvious. Something happens, you interpret it, and you get triggered. So that interpretation process is where to pay attention, because that happens because of what? Your brain's wiring, how you've been programmed to learn how to respond in certain situations. And oh, by the way, what you've learned about how to respond and how to interpret things is different from another person who might actually not be disempowered and might not have a negative emotional spin in that same situation because of how they were wired and how they've been trained or trained themselves to interpret it differently in a way that can actually empower them and teach them the next step to take or whatever. So what I'm telling you is that ultimately these triggers are totally controllable by you. You do not have to be run by them, because you can go in and change the wiring that is creating the meaning that causes the negative trigger to occur, or for the trigger to be negative and take you out of the game. How does that sound? What if you could get out of the game of being triggered and taken, out of productivity, out of creativity? It changes your mood, the whole thing. You know how a trigger can mess with your day? So this is the kind of work I do, and this is what I teach people to do through our Evolve Your Excellence brain rewiring program. But I want to talk to you about how this all happens and things you can do to change the wiring that's disempowering. And the way that I do that is provide these live trainings at least once a week. And there's one coming up at 9 a.m. Pacific this morning. That's right, just a couple of hours from now. Okay, and they're free to join. All you got to do is follow this link here, choose the time at 9 a.m. here, and then if you got a little bit of time, it takes about an hour and a half to go through this training. This is a real training. I want you to know that you're going to leave with actionable items, a lot of aha moments, and hopefully a different way to look at your world, especially where it shows up as disempowering or out of your control, or anything that would suggest that, hey, maybe I can't have what I want in my life, because we can change all of that. So if you or someone you know who might be suffering with this whole mental spin and spiraling into emotional abysses because of the slightest trigger, if you'd like freedom from that, or would like to help somebody else have freedom from that, I invite you to take a look at this training a couple of hours from now, and I hope to see you there.